Thank you very much. Mr. President, thank you for that wonderful introduction and for your leadership at Georgetown and for your commitment to the Clinton Global Initiative. I'm grateful that you made it for more than one reason. When people come to the CGI, we tell them that they have to make a commitment of time or money, and it doesn't matter how much, but they have to promise to do something, and if they don't, they can't come back next year. So I hope you'll come back next year. Now, I want to thank John Podesta for inviting me to speak today. He held any number of very important posts in the White House during my 8 years and finished as my chief of staff. I never had a better one. He's an extraordinarily able person, and nothing much has changed. He told me exactly what he wanted me to talk about today, just like he did when I was president. There are many people in this audience today who were active in my administration, and I hesitate to mention them because I just glanced out at the crowd, and I know I missed half of them, but it's worth noting because of their continuing commitment to public service. Bruce Reed, who was my domestic policy advisor, just wrote a very important book with Congressman Rahm Emanuel called The Plan. Gail Smith, who worked with me on Africa, still works for the Clinton Global Initiative. P.J. Crowley, Ambassador Elizabeth Bagley, Nancy Soderberg, who was very important in our Irish Peace Initiative and many other national security matters. Peter Runlett, a White House fellow, and Bruce Lindsay, who's probably been my friend longer than anybody else here, who is still the chairman of my foundation. I thank them all for being here. And Mr. President, I thank you for being here. I'm glad you've come across the water to teach at Georgetown. I'm glad to see you. I have been asked to talk today about the common good in terms of how it affected my presidency. Therefore, I will not, unless the questions arise, spend an enormous amount of time talking about the way forward, although I have views on all that. You have heard that I came here nearly 15 years ago to deliver a series of speeches outlining my philosophy of government and the ideas that I proposed to pursue if I got elected. When I gave the first speech, I believe I was still running fifth in the polls in the Democratic primary in New Hampshire. So it was probably an act of hubris, but I felt good here. I first came to this hall 42 years ago, and I have come many times since. I love it very much. In the context of late 1991, I defined the common good as a new covenant for equal opportunity, shared responsibility, an inclusive community, and an aggressive approach to try to create those values throughout the world at the end of the Cold War. It was what I thought America should do to advance the common good. Really just a restatement of what our founders pledged their lives, their fortunes, their sacred honor to form a more perfect union. Given the nature of the political debate today, I think it's important to point out that that 18th century construct in 21st century language meant the following: we are not perfect, we never will be perfect, no one has the whole truth, but we can always do better. That's what a more perfect union meant. It is a permanent mission for America designed to make America a permanent work in progress. Now, as Jack and John have said, I try to do that work as a private citizen through the Foundation's work here in America and around the world on AIDS, on climate change, on economic development, and through the Clinton Global Initiative. But I know politics still matters. And I believe ideas matter. I loved the 4 years I spent here at Georgetown. When I wrote my memoirs, my editor made me take out several pages that, I believe it or not, as long as it was, several pages I had written about Georgetown. He says, no one will believe that you remember every professor and all these lectures and that you saved all your papers. No one will believe this. You got to take some of this out. I say that for all of you who are students here, to say that this was a seminal experience in my life coming here. The professors that I had then affected me in ways that continue in my life today. And the most important point I can make about that for the purposes of my remarks today is that I really believed more strongly when I left here than when I came that ideas matter, that evidence matters, that thinking and reasoning matter, that ideas have consequences, and that in politics that means ideas lead to policies which have positive or negative effects in people's lives. I believe that then, I believe that now.